Be honest with me. How many times have you sat down to study, read a chapter, highlighted the important parts, and nodded your head thinking, okay, I get this, I'm ready. Then you walk into the exam room. You look at the first question, and your mind goes completely blank. It's like the information just evaporated. You feel stupid. You feel like you wasted your time. You wonder why your friend, who studied half as much as you, is getting an A while you're scraping by with a C. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is, the way you are studying is probably wrong. You are falling for something psychologists call the illusion of competence. You recognize the words, so you think you know the concepts. You don't. The good news, you don't need to be a genius to fix this. You just need a different method. A method used by a Nobel Prize-winning physicist to learn quantum mechanics, crack safes, and play the bongos. Richard Feynman was one of the smartest people to ever live, but he hated smart people who used big words to hide the fact that they didn't know what they were talking about. He had a famous saying, "You can know the name of a bird in all the languages of the world, but when you're finished, you'll know absolutely nothing whatever about the bird." Think about your last class. Your professor probably used words like mitochondria or macroeconomics or existentialism. You wrote the words down. You memorized the definition. But if I asked you, why does that actually matter? How does it work? Could you tell me? Or would you just repeat the textbook definition? If you can only repeat the definition, you haven't learned. You have memorized. And memorization is fragile. It breaks under stress. Understanding is solid. It sticks forever. The Feynman technique is a four-step framework designed to destroy memorization and force you to actually understand. And it starts with a piece of paper and a toddler. Here is step one. Get a blank sheet of paper. At the top, write the name of the concept you are trying to learn. Let's say it's photosynthesis. Now, I want you to write an explanation of that concept. But here's the rule. You cannot use the textbook definition. You cannot use jargon, and you cannot use big words. You have to explain it as if you were teaching it to a 12-year-old, or even a 5-year-old. Why a 12-year-old? Because a 12-year-old has a limited vocabulary. If you use a word like chlorophyll, the kid is going to ask, what is that? And if you say, it's a pigment, they will ask, what is a pigment? You are forced to strip away the complexity. You have to say, it's the stuff that makes plants green and eat sunlight. When you stop hiding behind fancy words, you expose what you truly know. And more importantly, you expose what you don't know. And that brings us to the most painful part of the process. As you are writing your simple explanation, you're going to get stuck. You'll reach a point where you say, okay, the plant eats sunlight, and then magic happens, and then sugar comes out. You'll realize you don't actually know how the sunlight turns into sugar. You just know that it does. This moment, this frustration is where most students quit. They check their phone, they go get a snack. But you're going to love this moment because you just found the gap. This is the secret to studying 10x faster. Most people study everything. They reread the parts they already know. That is a waste of time. When you find a gap, you know exactly what you need to study. Go back to the source material, open the book, Google it, watch a YouTube video, but look only for the answer to that specific gap. Once you find the missing piece, close the book again. Go back to your paper and try to explain it simply again. If you can't explain it simply yet, you still don't get it. Go back again. It's a loop. Explain, get stuck, review, explain. But we aren't done yet, because simple explanations can still be boring. To truly master something, you need step 3. Feynman was famous for this. He didn't just explain physics, he painted pictures with words. He explained atoms by comparing them to a solar system. He explained electricity by comparing it to water flowing through pipes. Step 3 is create an analogy. Connect the new concept to something you already understand. If you're learning about computer functions, don't talk about code.
talk about a recipe. The inputs are the ingredients, the function is the oven, the output is the cake. Why does this work? Because your brain is an associative machine. It hates floating facts. It loves connections. When you say A is like B, you are hot-wiring the new information into your long-term memory. If you can create a good analogy, you haven't just learned the concept, you've mastered it. Now, look at your paper. It's probably a mess. Scribbles, arrows, crossed out sentences. That mess is the evidence of your learning. And the final step is to clean it up. Take a fresh sheet of paper, write your final, simple, analogy-filled explanation. Read it out loud. Does it flow? Is it confusing? If you stumble, you have one last gap to fix. But if you can read it smoothly and it makes sense to a 12-year-old, congratulations. You don't just know the name of the bird, you know the bird. And the best part? You'll remember this in 6 months. You won't need to cram the night before the exam because you didn't memorize it. You own it. This sounds like more work than just highlighting a book, right? It is. It requires effort. It requires thinking. But 30 minutes of the Feynman technique is worth 5 hours of passive reading. So, here's your challenge for today. Don't try to overhaul your whole life. Just pick one concept that you're struggling with right now. Just one. Grab a blank sheet of paper and try to teach it to a toddler. Let me know in the comments what topic you're going to conquer today. Stop memorizing, start understanding. See you in the next one.